Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Wednesday? Whoa, I almost said Monday, Adam. What do we do? It's like it's week 16 or something. How's it going? I'm just not even, I'm done. How's it going? How you doing? Monday? What's going on?
Yeah, don't say Monday, all right? It's midway through the week. Remember, this is a different week, too. We have two football games on
Thank you.
Saturday.
Thank you.
We're
Yes.
towards the end of the fantasy season. So, yeah, don't push us back to Monday.
No, you don't want to relive some of your wins? Some of the Darren Waller sweats? Come on. What do you mean?
Yeah, actually, this past week was pretty good. So I
Yeah.
can't really complain. I'm hoping for a repeat this week, keep those seasons alive, get to the fantasy championship. So,
There we go.
yeah, this past week was very good for fantasy. I will say that.
There we go. Well, it is Wednesday, all day, if anyone wanted to know. And again, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you for the next couple of hours, breaking down everything you need to know. We're turning the page, week 16. You are just 2 weeks away from a fantasy championship. We've got great games this week as well. So fantasylife.com is where you want to go to check out all the rankings that we talk about today. Utilization report is live over there. Matthew Friedman's updated rankings and articles as well. So make sure to head over there. Make sure while you're there, you subscribe to our newsletter. And yeah, vibes are immaculate, Adam. Look at this. I'm just already, messing up the days of the week. How we could only go up from here. That's truly what it is.
Yeah, if you need
Yeah.
help with the days of the week, just let me know before the show and I'll let
Thank
you know.
Yeah, you can do the intro now. News. Let's go. Let's go. Not a ton of news before we get into, like I said, week 16. We are going to be breaking down some of the biggest matchups this weekend, going through, if some of these superstars can continue scoring the way that they did last week and all of the good stuff. The one piece of news definitely off the top, Bam Knight was placed on IR. Sorry to your Bam Knight shares, Adam. I know you have him in one league, so you're going to have to go to the next man up. But he's not going to be able to return in 2025. We know the Arizona Cardinals aren't going to the playoffs here. Not shocking, but him being placed on IR does mean that Michael Carter is going to take a step up here. And I still do want to mention Amari DiMercato. I just think that the bigger role is going to be to Michael Carter. He stepped into an RB1 workload in week 15. And so he's the guy that if your waivers haven't run, he's the guy you prioritize today, because we talked about this yesterday, Adam. You can go get Jawar Jordan. You can go get some of these other running backs, but Michael Carter is going to have a significant role. He led in snaps, attempts, route participation, and in targets. 13.4 fantasy points, 81 utilization scores. So now it's kind of a cleared runway for him the rest of the way.
And we've seen Michael Carter at times in this feature back role put up numbers in fantasy. Even last week, he was solid. So, yes, Amari DiMercato came back last week, but barely played, only had 3 touches. Maybe they increase his role this week, but it certainly seems like they have been more hesitant to give DiMercato a bigger workload. So, yeah, I think Carter is the guy to add, and he'll probably be in that RB2 range this week.
So.
And the Cardinals offense is putting up points. Yes, it's primarily through the pass. It's Brissett with 40-plus pass attempts every single game, but it allows Carter to catch some passes, and maybe he punches in a touchdown at the goal line, as we've seen with Bam Knight recently.
Yeah, going up against the Falcons. How many running backs have they lost this year, by the way? The Cardinals?
7.
I mean, like,
No.
so James Conner, I mean, it's got to be close, right? James Conner, Trey Benson. Now you've got Bam Knight. There's been a lot here. And so, yeah, maybe Amari DiMercato kind of is just lingering in the backfield, in the background a little bit, but I think you're going to see Carter look like the lead back for, as long as Knight is out, and that's the rest of the season there. And like we said, they're playing the Falcons this week. So again, Cardinals not playing for much, but I made this mistake last week, Adam, of dropping Jacoby Brissett down in the ranks because he was facing Houston. And so Arizona Cardinals playing at home, as long as you have Jacoby Brissett out there, he does give us good fantasy numbers. I know they're not winning. This is very much a Jacoby Brissett's good for fantasy, not necessarily translating to wins in the NFL. But yeah, he's just someone that it feels like no matter the matchup, because you know that they're just going to be in those same game scripts. Most of the time, they're going to be playing from behind. But the Houston Texans one was just a little, not, I don't want to say shocking, but it was just good to see. Like Jacoby Brissett did not care playing from behind, getting all those pass attempts, and he's able to uplift Trey McBride, Michael Carter as well, but also Michael Wilson, as long as we don't have Marvin Harrison Jr. So there you go.
Yeah, it wasn't a good start to the game, and that probably people who played them were like, oh, no, this was not good, because Michael Wilson did nothing early. They were down 23-7 at the half, but it was the game script. that you were hoping for, and that was the ultimate goal. You were like, okay, we know they're going to be playing from behind. Will they have enough time to create some drives and allow Brissett to attempt 40 passes, which is exactly what he did. First quarterback this year to throw for more than 2 touchdowns against the Texans. And obviously McBride, a massive performance, and Michael Wilson came through. It didn't look good early, but he got his 11 targets. He came through with 5 for 54 and a touchdown, and that was the thought when we said, hey, you just start Michael Wilson. The targets are there. And again, it wasn't as good as previous weeks, but it was enough to get done. Even Carter in that game, he was third on the team in targets with 4, catching all 4 for 38. So if you get that as the floor, then whatever he does on the ground is just extra. He had 14 carries, 56 yards against a tough defense. And again, if he finds the end zone, then it's a even better day that could really be a difference maker in fantasy.
Yeah, and I will just say this, since for Michael Wilson, what waiver wire, he was probably a waiver wire hero this year, no? Were people drafting him though? I can't remember.
In deeper leagues, maybe with 20 roster spots, yes. But I would say in most leagues, especially with 16 roster spots, he was on the waiver wire and people picked him up. So I think you will hear stories of people saying, yeah, I picked up Michael Wilson middle of the year, and boy, did he make a big difference down the stretch. I mean, clearly the same with Jacoby Brissett as well. I think
he has to be the top one. Waiver wire hero of the year, Jacoby Brissett.
Look, if you used him consistently, I mean, he's been a QB1 almost every single week that he's been in there. And especially if you had an underperforming quarterback or a quarterback that got hurt and the timing worked out, I could see it. I mean, he's outperformed a lot of quarterbacks that were drafted ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at what he's done since week 6, because it was really week 6, and then they had their bye in week 8. But he has not had less than 18 fantasy points in all these outings. And again, they've faced tough teams, right? They've faced the Rams. We just saw him face Houston. It's just
even Seattle. I think he had like 250 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he was 22 of 44, 258, 2 touchdowns, 2 fumbles, and 4 carries for 31 yards, 19 fantasy points against Seattle.
I think most of the waiver wire pickups that hit this year were more short term, right? They gave you like 2 to 3 weeks and then they disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this yesterday because I'm going to write it up for the end of the year, and I was trying to go through some of the players, and I obviously put Jacoby Brissett. I did for a short term. I put Jackson Dart in there because I think in the middle he kept you alive, and he was, until the concussions and just kind of the downward spiral with the whole organization. He was really good in there too. Kamani Vidal is one that I kind of forgot. He's one that I think he could have picked up.
That's kind of more like he didn't help you the entire year.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like another one like Oronde Gadsden, right? Like he was more of a 3-4 week stretch where he really delivered and then kind of tailed off. I mean, we might be saying the same thing about a Colby Parkinson, right? Especially if he has another couple good weeks, but wasn't the whole year. So I feel like a lot of the waiver pickups this year were more short term. We didn't really have a lot of players that we picked up and they helped us the entire year.
It was a bad waiver wire year. It just was, because now that you say it short term, Jacoby Brissett's probably, and I will call him long term because he's been in for so long. We haven't seen Kyler Murray since whatever I just said, week 6 or something like that. But
Brissett's been doing it since week 6. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's most of the year. Yeah.
I think other ones I said were Alec Pierce, but that's short term now because you can't use him. I mean, that's middle of the year flex option. Christian Watson, super short term, but he was one that I hope we get him back this week, but I don't. What side are you on with that? Do you have a feeling one way or the other if he's going to return?
I don't. My guess is no, with the game being on Saturday.
Yeah, mine too. I hope I'm wrong though, because
but that was a guy that we could have said was a difference maker down the stretch. Now we'll see. Maybe if he missed this week, comes back and has a big game, okay. Maybe, but again, it's not a guy that we can put as like waiver wire hero of the year.
No.
He missed a lot of time and then had a couple down games and then got hurt in a game where he finished with 5.9. So, yeah, they're just, years past we've had players picked up week 1, week 2 that were great all year. There haven't been as many substantial long term. Even Michael Wilson, like he didn't have his first big game until week 11.
Yeah, he's short term. And you had to, yeah, he's short term. Now let me tell you, the list of the ones that didn't work out, I could go all we could go all show and say that one because it's just you spend money on guys with potential upside and then it just sometimes doesn't work out. The one I scrolled all the way back into a couple of my leagues to see how much fab was spent. One of the biggest ones that I forgot about was Malik Washington for the Dolphins wide
Yeah.
receiver when Tyreek Hill went down because we knew that of course Jalen Waddle was going to step up, but the other thought process was, well, it's not just going to be him, right? It has to be someone else in this offense. Ooh, big money was spent on Malik Washington
One
first
game,
first of the year.
one game of double-digit points in
Yeah, it's
PPR
not
this
good.
year.
Not
But a
good.
lot of it is because they just do not pass the ball, right? Tua just doesn't have, they don't ask him to throw the ball a lot. If you look at his pass attempts this year, you'll be amazed at how low they are. It's like consistently under 30, consistently under 25. I mean, just look, I mean, the game last week where they should have passed more, he only had 28 pass attempts in a game they were down like, I don't know, like 20, right? And they were
Yeah.
very deliberate in the fourth quarter, not like very slow, like you're trailing big. So he only had 28 pass attempts in that game. And then before that, 21, 23, 20, 21.
That's insane.
He had
He's only had
40.
four.
He had
Yeah.
40 against Baltimore because they lost 28-6, but he's only had one game of 40 pass attempts, and most of them it's 25 or fewer. So
Yeah.
if you have a quarterback that's throwing that little, and we know a lot of targets are going to Echan and Waddle, there's not enough room for a second receiver. I mean, there's barely enough for Waddle.
Yeah. Well, maybe things are going to change for the Miami Dolphins. Did you see that quote
Yeah.
come out? I don't know. I thought that was a little bit weird, but Mike McDaniel yesterday said, quote, everything is on the table when asked about a possible quarterback change at this point in the season. So they, of course, lost on Monday night's game against the Steelers. And he said that he'd have to look at the film before commenting on the possibility of a quarterback change. But he said everything is on the table. So again, Tua Tagovailoa was not amazing in that game, in that loss. He hasn't been necessarily amazing this season. He has stayed healthy, which we love to see. But that would be interesting. They've got Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers as the other quarterbacks in Miami if they, I guess, decide to make a change. So yeah, I don't know. You would have to. I hope it. Well, I don't know. You have Darren Waller this week. I don't know what you're hoping for because they are at home, right? They're playing against the Cincinnati Bengals. I think Jalen Waddle is another conversation. Devon Achane, you're always going to play, but there's really only two other players that you're looking at, and it's Waddle and Waller this week, really because of the matchup, because the Bengals can't defend anyone, but especially tight ends. They give up the most fantasy points to tight ends across the board.
Yeah, Waller's in a good spot this week. He's coming off a game too where he scored 2 touchdowns, and the matchup
Yeah.
against the Bengals is as good as it gets. Even though the Ravens didn't come through last week, I mean, it's been every week pretty much this season that tight ends have just gashed the Bengals. So yeah, you want to get Waller in there if you
Yeah.
have him,
You think they're going
and
to change quarterbacks? Would
I'm
that
not
make you
sure.
downgrade him though? If it's Zach Wilson out there, I would have to downgrade him a little bit. Same with
Maybe a
same with
little.
Waddle.
It's not like Tua's been good either.
No, no, that's true. I'm trying to be nice to Tua Tagovailoa. They're at home. They're playing the Bengals. We just want fantasy points. Just give us that at least.
Yeah, we need Joe Burrow to wake up and
Yeah,
play
what the
this
heck?
week.
Can we? He needs to have fun again. That's what needs to
Well,
happen.
how can you have fun when you play for the
I don't
Bengals?
know.
Come on.
I was trying not to overreact to that, and then I sat down and I was like, you know what? I also wouldn't have fun if I was didn't have any offensive linemen protecting me and I was running for my life and not winning football games. Yeah, I'd be pretty sad too.
Well, at least they flexed that game out of Sunday night. That was
Yeah,
a good
thank
decision.
goodness. Because we
And
had like 6 Dolphins games already this year. We've already had too many. I don't know who making the schedule thought that that was a good idea.
I don't really remember anyone that thought the Dolphins were going to be good this year. Most people said they were going to be bad and underachieve, and that's what they've done. I mean, they've come to life recently before losing to Pittsburgh, but I guess at least with that game, we got nice weather. We got a nice total of 50.5. So let's hope that whoever quarterbacks can make that game high scoring.
Let's just do that. And yeah, Joe Burrow, hopefully he's able to come through. I saw a couple questions, and again, at K Valenzuela 17 over there at Adam Ronis on X, we'll start looking through your questions and start taking as many as we can. But 5.5, if you got through that, which I don't know if a lot of people did, Adam, if they started him against Baltimore and he got you 5.5 fantasy points, not good. 25 of 39, 225 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That was brutal. You can get right against Miami. I just don't know how many people got through if they played him.
Yeah, maybe a handful. He probably did sink a lot of teams for sure, but
Yeah.
you would hope that he has a bounce back week in this matchup. Now, does T. Higgins play? That you would feel
I
better?
really hope so.
You would feel better about Burrow if T. Higgins played. Either way, though, I think people are still going to have him, fifth, sixth at quarterback.
Yeah, we've got him QB consensus 5 right now. I've got
Yeah.
him at 7.
Oh, you're scared.
And yeah, I might move him. I need T Higgins back. I am a little bit scared. 7's not bad. Come on. I've got Dak ahead of him. Lamar
Josh
Jackson, Drake
Allen,
May,
Jalen
yeah, Jalen
Hurts.
Hurts, Josh Allen, all the regular guys out there. I do have the one that I'm going to probably flip with him is Jared Goff. I do have Jared Goff ahead of him right now.
Yeah, that's a
Going up
big
against
game for
Pittsburgh.
Detroit. They
Mhm.
really need this win to keep their
Yeah.
season alive.
Yeah, so I might flip those two, unsure, but you guys can go and check out our rankings. Fantasylife.com is where you can go. Early rankings, like we say, so there's always changes being made. But you guys can go and check those out. Fantasylife.com for those. We're gonna continue on here. Those were the two biggest pieces of news that we've seen so far. We'll continue monitoring all the injury reports going into today's practices. But I want to ask you, Adam, do we think the week 15 superstars can keep scoring? I want to talk if we can see it again from Trevor Lawrence, Kyle Pitts, Bo Nix. We're going to break it down here coming up next. Oh, we are just 2 weeks away from winning those leagues. I know everyone listening is getting ready to go, and it's going to be another great week of games. Hopefully on Thursday as well, Adam, or else I won't be here on Friday. Just kidding, I will.
Yeah, you'll be
I
here.
will. I can't even say that I'm going to be in a bad mood because I'm usually not in a bad mood, except when the Mariners lose. So maybe I will be in a bad mood.
That's pretty often.
Hey, watch it. You see the Mets took Polanco from me.
Yeah.
What
But
do you
great.
think?
I mean, yeah, some inspiring offseason moves for the Mets with that
Stop.
high
Don't
payroll.
do
Like,
that to Polanco. He's good.
I've always liked Polanco, but I'm sorry, that doesn't move the needle.
Well, no, but made me sad. So there you go.
Telling you, Mets fans are very pissed off right now.
Well, yeah.
They
With
better
all that
start
money.
start
Yeah.
making moves because this is not what we wanted.
I think Polanco might be the high dollar free agent you're signing.
That's why I'm
That's it.
so into fantasy sports. My teams can't
Mm-hmm.
win titles, so I got to do it on my own.
You got to fantasy football and betting, right?
Yeah.
That's the reason. Well, yeah, we're here to win fantasy championships, though. We know that for sure. Week 16 across the NFL. I do want to ask, and this is, looking back a little bit at week 15, but how feasible is it for the players that really came through for you in the first week of the fantasy playoffs? How feasible is it for them to be able to do it again in week 16, depending on their matchup? So, of course, the first one I do really want to ask you about is Kyle Pitts, because that one I wouldn't say necessarily came out of nowhere. We had him ranked pretty high in the rankings, but we haven't seen a performance like that from him. 45.6 fantasy points in week 15 was absolutely incredible for him. We know that he's playing for a contract somewhere. We don't somewhere, anywhere with teams watching him right now, but he was a hero for the first week. Now they're on the road playing the Arizona Cardinals, which is not necessarily a scary matchup for him. How much do you think he could maybe do this again? Maybe, of course, not 45, but put up some big numbers in this game.
Yeah, I think he can do 40. I
Oh,
think that's
perfect.
fair. No.
Okay, yeah. Pencil that in.
Look, it comes down to, is Drake London going to play? Because it's clear
I
with
don't
Drake
think
London
so.
out, he become. Why do you say you don't think so?
I don't know. Just to be pessimistic.
Don't
Where
do that.
was-
I need him. I need
you
Drake
said
London.
that you didn't think he was going to come back the whole rest of the year.
Well, I'm changing my mind because I need him this
Okay,
week and next
okay.
week potentially.
Then yes,
So,
of course he's going to come back.
but with London out, it just opens up Pitts as the go-to guy. And I don't know what Tampa Bay was doing last week. Like, you see clearly he is tearing you up. How are you not shifting more coverage to him? So they just let him beat them, and they were fired up for that game. They wanted to play spoiler. But yeah, I mean, Pitts has a lot to play for. Kirk Cousins has looked better, and even if you take away last week, look at the 2 previous games. He still put up good numbers. 8 targets, 7 for 82 against the Jets, and against the Seahawks, 10 targets, 6 for 90. So if London is out, he's going to get 8 to 10 targets. And for a tight end, that is an automatic start because they don't need to do much to finish as a tight end 1. So as long as London is out, Pitts has got to be ranked in the top 5. Now, if London comes back, you're still going to start him, I think, but you have to lower the expectations for sure because we've seen they just have not had room in this offense for 2 players to go off in the passing game. And then we got to remember Bijan Robinson is involved heavily in the passing game. They even line him up at receiver at times. So right now, if you're doing rankings assuming London is out, you're going to have Pitts, my guess, 3 at tight end, right?
Yes. Let me make sure. I always like to triple check my work. Yep. Tight end 3 because I can't have Bowers
McBride,
up
Kittle.
there.
You can't put Bowers over Pitts
There's no
right
way. And Harold Fannin he's getting the targets, but he's 5 for me. So
where's Goddard?
7.
Okay.
Against Washington.
And what about Colby Parkinson?
8.
Oh, the disrespect.
Seahawks. I have to have a little bias in here. Like a little bit of me wants to believe that he's not going to do well, but 8's good. That's 8 consensus across the board too. No one has him higher than 8.
So I would.
You'd play him ahead of Dallas Goedert. It sounds like you'd play him ahead of Kelsey.
No, I'd probably go Goddard. Oh, I'd play him ahead of Kelsey. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got him ahead of Kelsey. Oh, so you'd play Goddard ahead of him against Washington?
Yeah, Goddard I don't know how he keeps doing it. I hope he does for 2 more weeks since I have him and he's kind of saved me.
Yeah. Well, it's the touchdowns. Very touchdown dependent, but when he gets
I keep saying well, these touchdowns can't continue. And he should have had a third last week. He dropped it. He was wide open and he dropped it.
Because look at this. He hadn't scored since week 8 before their bye. Yeah.
Yeah, he slowed down a little bit, but
he did. He was against the Chargers, he didn't have any touchdowns, but he was still able to get you 15. So you'd take that because he had 8 receptions for 78 yards.
Sometimes we never listen to what players say, but I think there was a quote from Goddard in the offseason that he loved the offense that with Patullo, the way they were going to use him. That should have been a sign.
We should have said, why do you like the offense?
It's like, yeah, I'm more involved.
I mean, when it comes down to Kyle Pitts, tight end 3 this week. And I will say, shout out to, I saw these stats on NBC, but they were breaking down like the primary reason for his, 3 touchdown day, 166 yards. He had a career high 116 receiving yards when running routes from the slot position. So then you look at the Arizona Cardinals, you take that information, you say, okay, week 15, 36.5% of the time he was lined up in the slot, which is like I said, season high there. Arizona ranks 29th in fantasy points per game allowed on passes, I should say, to slot receivers over the past 4 weeks. So combine that with everything going on, and you probably get another strong day from Kyle Pitts. Now, of course, we're going to say that, and maybe now he's going to be fine. Like you said, 40. We'll take 40.
Think about this. Imagine you're in a high stakes league, right? And so they do like a 3-week sprint, right? It starts in week 15. You get your average total from weeks 1 to 14. And then they add weeks 15, 16, 17, and whoever has the most points is the overall champ for the big prize. Imagine you had a team this past week that had Trevor Lawrence and Kyle Pitts. Oh. You probably thought you were not even in contention, right? You're like, let me throw them. And now you're probably number 1.
I've won in the women's series that I went to Vegas to draft for, and I was just looking. I don't usually like to look this early, but I did go up against someone that did play Trevor Lawrence in that one, and I was like, oh, good on you. Good on you, because it was a little bit deflating to see the scores, but you can still come back from it, like we say. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is another one. You think he's able to do that again? 44.3 fantasy points. When I asked you, is anyone going to be able to catch Kyle Pitts? I don't even think, Trevor Lawrence wasn't even mentioned, because why would he be? But he does go against the Denver Broncos this week, so that's the other thing. The Denver Broncos defense as a whole is amazing. Then you couple that in with their on the road. Jacksonville's on the road. So the Broncos are at home. They're 7-0. I believe they're undefeated at home still. What do you think the production's going to look like from him?
Yeah, I don't even think it's going to come close, obviously. No. But yeah, Denver has allowed the 5th fewest fantasy points to the quarterback position. They've allowed one quarterback to throw for more than 2 touchdowns this year. Do you want to guess who that is?
They've allowed what? Sorry.
One quarterback to throw for more than 2 touchdowns this year.
I couldn't even. One?
Yes.
I have no idea. Can I
Jackson
say Jacoby
Dart.
Brissett? Ah, Jackson Dart.
That
How early in the season was
Remember
that?
that was the game that the Giants blew where they scored
Oh, that's
all the
right. That
point.
was a
I
fun
think
game.
was it 28 or 31 in the fourth
It
quarter
was
because
something
Bo Nix had 2
crazy.
passing and 2 rushing in the fourth quarter.
That's right. That was a great
But
game.
that was the only quarterback to throw for more than 2 touchdowns. They haven't faced actually. Well, they limited Dak didn't throw a touchdown against them and had 188 yards. That's pretty good. But they have faced a lot of bad quarterbacks: Cam Ward, Geno Smith twice, Kenny Pickett,
Yeah.
Jordan Love. Well, Pickett came in when Geno late in the game, that one. But Love threw for 276 last week and 1 touchdown, but threw 2 picks. So, yeah, Lawrence has been really good, but it's tough to trust him this week. And I know that might be difficult to say because he's coming off such a massive performance, and he's actually performed very well over the last 4 games. But this is a step up in competition here compared to what he's faced. I mean, the last 4 games he's faced Arizona, Tennessee, the Colts, and the Jets. You do have to take that into account. And it is Trevor Lawrence, and we've seen him have these stretches before and then go back to looking bad. So, yeah, I wouldn't have Trevor Lawrence as a top 12 quarterback this week.
Yeah, I've got him. I've got him borderline right now, just
12?
because at 13.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's probably where he should be.
Yeah,
And maybe he
that's what I think.
makes us look bad and goes out and has another great game, but
Listen. I would love that.
but
To be
what like
honest,
but here's the thing, like what is a good game for him against Denver? Isn't it more like 250 and 2 touchdowns?
probably. Yeah,
Also, too, let's be
but we'll
fair
take
here.
that.
They've been more of a running team. Just look at the pass attempts that he's had the last 4 games. You would think with the numbers he's putting up, they were massive. It's 30, 27, 30, and 32. Like, he's just been extremely efficient. Now, it helps that Brian Thomas is back playing better. You got Jacoby Myers. Parker Washington did play last week. ETN, obviously, out of the backfield, had the 3 receiving touchdowns. And he's running, too. He's got at
Yeah.
least 25 rushing yards in 3 of the last 4 games, and this past week, 5 for 51 and a touchdown. So he does bring that element, but yeah, it's a tougher matchup here in Denver. A good defense. I don't feel great about him this week.
Well, let me ask you, how do you feel about Quinn Ewers this week?
Oh, he was named the
It's
quarterback.
happening. Yeah.
Oh,
Major moves for the Miami Dolphins. So just officially coming through from Ian Rappaport. Breaking news in the NFL. The Dolphins, they are benching starting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa for rookie Quinn Ewers going up against the Bengals. Mike McDaniel, like we said all options were on the table. That was just yesterday when they were asking him about how to improve this team. And he chose the option that I guess leads to a new quarterback for this team probably rest of the season. I won't say it right now, but when you bench Tua Tagovailoa, it looks like something that's going to be for the next, however many 3 weeks we have left. So they're benching Tua Tagovailoa, turning to Quinn Ewers, going up against Cincinnati. How much do you downgrade the offense? I mean, Tua Tagovailoa, that's the thing. You've been starting Devon week in and week out. You don't need us to tell you that. It's really a question about Jalen Waddle, and now if you continue to stream, if you picked up Darren Waller, because he is in such a great matchup going up against the Bengals, do you continue to put him in your lineups this week?
yeah, you probably downgrade him a little bit. Like if you were on the fence and a decision were too close, maybe you go in the other direction. Again, it is the Bengals though.
I
Like they
know.
are so bad, but making his first NFL start here. Um, arm strength's a little bit a concern here. So yeah, I mean, look, HN's definitely in. Waddle probably moving down just a little bit, and again, Waller is borderline tight end 1, just because of the matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is like you said, Quinn Ewers is going to make his first NFL start against the Bengals. So we can look at what some coaches and some recruiters said about him because I do want to figure out what our expectations should be. But I will say this, Adam, at least they're not putting him out there like we saw Phillip Rivers going up against the Seahawks defense. Like this Bengals defense, we know can give up big plays, can give him a big day. So at least they're doing it where the Dolphins are at home too in this one. So we're not saying go out there and scramble to get Quinn Ewers on the waiver wire. I don't think we're going to go that far, but at least it's better than what it could have been, especially matchup wise. So you have to feel a little bit confident.
Yeah, where are the Bengals at right now? They've been eliminated.
Yeah.
They looked terrible last week, so maybe they don't show up or they're not all into it. Again, at least we're not relying on a lot of people in this offense. Although I think Waller is probably people we're looking to this week, right? Even if
Yeah.
you didn't use him last week, you probably had Waller and you said we're attacking the Bengals with tight ends, so Waller's going to start for me if I make the semifinals.
Like I said, I've got Waller right now at 9. Would you move him? Would you move him any lower than that? 12, maybe? I don't
No,
know. It's still a great matchup.
yeah, I mean, and it's not like Waller's running these complicated routes either.
No.
And then you have other tight ends in that area that have question marks. So, no, I'd probably, I think I'd leave him.
Yeah, I might put Schultz ahead of him actually.
I could see
Schultz
that
Schultz
against
one more up
Vegas.
against Vegas. That's probably the only one, but you still have Parkinson right there ahead of him. I've got Ferguson up there as well. I might move him a little bit though. Travis Kelce, Harold Fannin. So again, breaking news out of the NFL. We do have Tua Tagovailoa getting benched, and they are going to the rookie. They are going to Quinn Ewers going up against the Bengals in Week 16. We're going to continue to break that down. We're going to continue to break down if these players can keep giving us these great fantasy outings and more here coming up next. Mike's Hard Lemonade is partnering with Matthew Berry and Fantasy Life to give away weekly prizes all season long, including a trip to this year's big game. Prizes include Fantasy Life Plus subscriptions, gift cards to New Era, Homage, and Knockaround TV soundbars, and 2 tickets to the big game. And not only have Fantasy Life and Mike's Hard partnered for the sweepstakes, but we've also collaborated on a new 12-pack of exclusive flavors, including Hard Pink Pick 6, Hard Pineapple Rush, Hard Berry Blitz, and Hard Apple Tackle. So go to www.mikeshard.com/sweepstakes/fantasy life today and enter the sweepstakes and go find the Mike's Hard Fantasy Life 12 pack at a store near you. 21 plus only, premium malt beverage, Mike's Hard Lemonade Co. Chicago, Illinois. No purchase necessary to enter sweepstakes. See official rules at mikeshard.com/sweepstakes/fantasy life. This is Fantasy Life right here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Wednesday. Again, breaking news out of the NFL. No Tua Tagovailoa this week. The Dolphins are turning to Quinn Ewers to become the starter going up against the Bengals. Adam, you said the line, has moved a little bit in favor of the Bengals in this one, and you're not running to go get him in your Superflex league. Come on, winning a
No,
championship
look,
with. Come on, come
I'm a
on.
very loyal person,
Oh,
and
okay.
Bryce Young and Tyler Shuck have
Mm,
gotten me here with a pinch of Shador Sanders as my third quarterback. So no, I'm sticking with my guys.
That's fine. I mean, what if he goes off this week? I don't know if that's likely, but yeah, big changes happening for the Miami Dolphins. Again, we heard that there was potential that a benching would happen after that game on Monday night. The Dolphins are 6-8. They are out of the playoff contention there. And you see Tua Tagovailoa this season, 14 starts, completing 67.7% of his passes, little over 2,600 yards, 20 touchdowns, and a league high 15 interceptions. So it hasn't been sunshine and rainbows out there. Again, Quinn Ewers is a 7th-round rookie out of Texas. We saw him in one regular season appearance. I can't remember which one, but he completed 5 of 8 passes. So don't know what we're going to see out of him. But like I said, at least it's the Bengals and not the Houston Texans or the Seattle Seahawks defense. At least we can say nice things about that.
Yeah, that's the only positive to
That's
take
about
here.
it. But we're gonna update our rankings at fantasylife.com. So that's where you can go and check it out. Now I get to update and put Quinn Ewers in the rankings. There we go, Adam. Who would have thought? Not me.
Well, don't worry, he'll
What a
be near the
time.
bottom, and
Well,
no
yeah,
one's
he's
going to
going
be
to
touching
be,
him.
30, 32, I think is probably close to where he's going to be at. We're going through just some more of the Week 16 breakdowns. I want to talk about who we can trust in some of these backfields for running backs, but I did want to finish the conversation about players that had big Week 15s and if they can do it again. More specifically, want to talk through wide receiver DJ Moore for Chicago over there because he did come down with those 2 touchdowns in that game, 22.9 fantasy points. Again, such a brutal break. If you did have Rome Odunze, you set him in your lineup, and then 5 minutes before the game, 10 minutes maybe, I don't know. He was ruled out for re-aggravating his injury. You had Luther Burden go down in this one again, and I think a big reason that we saw DJ Moore have a great day was those end zone targets. He had 3 end zone targets against Cleveland. Of course, caught 2 of them for those 2 touchdowns, but that was only the 4th time that he's been targeted targeted at least 3 times on end zone throws. So that was a big part of it there. Do you think he's going to be able to put up numbers like that again?
A lot depends on the status of Luther Burden. We know Odunze not going to play, so that helps him a little bit. It still hasn't helped enough, we've seen. Luther Burden has become the main guy. The other problem is they spread the ball out, and they're not a passing team. They want to run the football. So if Burden is out, I'd feel better about DJ Moore. If Burden plays, then I don't think you can rely on DJ Moore because he has just not seen enough targets. And this was a game where Burden got hurt late with the ankle injury. So, and again, that second touchdown was not the smartest throw. And it just happened to get through, and Moore was able to catch it. But, yeah, it's been real disappointing for DJ Moore. So you can't just look at the 2 touchdowns and go, oh, yeah, he's back. But if Luther Burden was out and then Odunze's out, then, yeah, I'd feel better about him. But if Burden plays, then no, I can't feel good about DJ Moore. This is, again, an offense that's shifted to run heavy. And then in the passing game, they spread it around. It's even as good as we felt good about Odunze early in the year, and then that has tailed off, and a lot of it is Caleb Williams and not being accurate, especially when throwing to Odunze, and some drops for him. But yeah, they just have more pieces involved now in this offense, and the tight ends too. Komet's out there, Loveland's out there, so they kind of spread it around. Dan Burden only played 39% of the snaps in that game.
Yes.
I thought the injury was late. Am I wrong on that?
No, I saw that too in the utilization report.
Wow,
I can't.
Zacchaeus, 82%. Damn.
I don't know why. I hope that Luther Burden is able to come back because we've talked about him for a couple weeks. I know you'll see in the injury reports, the practice reports, that he did not practice yesterday, but it's way more important to see it as the week progresses here.
Well, they play Saturday, so
I know. So
tomorrow
yesterday was technically a Tuesday, so it's today, really, right? Wednesday.
Well, today's the Thursday, technically.
Oh, that's right. What's wrong with me with the
I don't
days
know
of the
what's
week
wrong with
this
you.
week? What's going on?
I don't know.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening right now.
Here's what's crazy. Even with Burden playing that limited amount of snaps, he had 6 catches for 84 yards on 7 targets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope he plays this week. I need him.
Too. I would love nothing more than for Luther Burden to play. I've said it too, like, not to hype him up going into next year, but I'm excited about what the core of that team is going to do next season, really, when they put it all together, because it's been up and down. They've been winning, right? They've been winning these fantastic games in every kind of fashion you can imagine. But yeah, Luther Burden with a bigger role going into next year. Yeah, he had six catches for 84 yards, seven targets in that one. So when he left, he still got you 14.4. So you'll take that. But yeah, we'll see if he's able to go. Another one that I also wanted to mention here was where'd it go? CJ Stroud. I've seen a lot of questions about CJ Stroud going into this week of if he's someone that we should actually be looking at to start, depending on if you, of course, lost Patrick Mahomes. That'll do a little bit. But the Texans are at home playing against the Raiders, and we just saw CJ Stroud put up 23.4. He's gotten production on the short, medium length passes that we've seen here. We know we've talked about Dalton Schultz in this game as well. But what are your expectations? The Raiders are bad. They rank, they are very close to last in a lot of stats that you can just point to. Like last in completion rate allowed, at the depth level that we're talking about with CJ Stroud. Everything across the board is not good for the Raiders.
Yeah, look, if you lost Mahomes, had no backup, and CJ Stroud's the best on waiver, sure, you can start him. He could put up huge numbers. The question is, how long does this game stay competitive? And does he play the fourth quarter? Because we did see Philadelphia basically pull their entire offense in the fourth quarter. And I'm assuming it's going to be a similar situation here. The Texans are home. They're 14.5-point favorites. The total's 37.5. And the Raiders offense could do nothing. It does sound like, though, Geno Smith could return. Not that matters,
okay.
But
it was a downgrade with Kenny Pickett.
Geno Smith
a little bit. I know.
Not much. They were
trying to be nice to
they
Geno.
were bad with him. Again, and the offensive line's horrendous. So anyone behind there is going to be a problem. But I guess I thought I saw positive comments from. Well, Carroll always has positive comments about every injured player. But I guess they're saying he's still uncertain.
One thing I learned about Pete Carroll is that you just don't
Everyone's
really.
Fine. You just tore your ACL.
It.
Yeah, he might be back this week.
It's like me going out there, Adam. You want me at the podium talking about hurt players? I just say, yeah, he's great. He's doing fantastic. That's what Pete Carroll does.
But
You
yeah,
can
I mean, look,
trust it.
Stroud should have a good game, right? I mean, he can get the
Yeah.
ball to Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, Jaden Higgins. We'll see what happens with their running back situation, but it all depends on, does that production come early? The other factor here is, a defensive touchdown for the
Yeah.
Texans, and then that could take away from some of the passing numbers. But Stroud's in a great spot and is a solid streaming quarterback if you're in that position. Hopefully you're not in the semifinals.
Yeah. Hopefully you're in a better spot. But again, a good matchup. So you just hope that he gets 2, 3 touchdowns and then they can bench him. Then you get, 20 plus fantasy points and you say, okay, your day is done. We're going to continue on though. I've got quarterback streamers, defensive streamers as well that we're going to talk through and some of your questions. I see them coming in at K Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there on X. We're going to do all of that here coming up next. You are listening to Fantasy Life right here, Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, getting you ready for all things Week 16 across the NFL, and of course, going through some quarterback streamers that I hope you don't have to use, but I know some people, Adam, are in that spot with Patrick Mahomes going down. Maybe they were relying a little bit on Jaden Daniels, but we've got quarterback streamers, some defenses as well. I see a couple questions coming in here that I want to get to. Speaking of quarterbacks, I see one here from Chris. Said we've been a big help this season, so shout out to us, Adam. Need a big one this week. Jacoby Brissett, Jordan Love, or Aaron Rodgers this week. It's
Come on,
Brissett.
it's Jacoby Brissett. It's not
Brissett it
even.
and forget it. Come
Yeah,
on.
what are we doing?
Come on. We love Jacoby Brissett here. Going up against Atlanta, he's my and I think I might move him up, but he is my QB7 this week. Ian has him at QB5.
It's hard not to put him in the top 5 at the way he's playing at this point.
The floor is 18, 19 fantasy points. And Jordan Love, he's a little bit closer, but I still have him at QB 14 this week. And then Aaron Rodgers is not even, he's not in the conversation for me. Let's just say that. Where do I even have him? See, I have to scroll so far. I've got him at 23, QB 23 for Aaron Rodgers.
No love for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, where would you like to put him? Where do you want him?
28?
Oh,
No, I don't know. I mean, Detroit's
okay.
defense is really banged up, but they just don't pass the ball enough.
No, they especially not to DK Metcalf. You can have one big game from him every 4
He should
weeks.
have a big game this week.
Well, he should. Do we think he's going to though?
They're probably going to be forced to pass. If Detroit puts up points, then they might have to pass more than usual.
It's just disappointing with how they've used. Let's just say that disappointing with how they used DK Metcalf. But yeah, it's Jacoby Brissett for you, Chris. Good luck this week. I think a couple other quarterback streamers, if you're looking. I mean, we have to mention JJ McCarthy, right? He's won the past couple weeks. That I know people have mixed feelings about one JJ McCarthy, but when you just look at the stats and when you look at the past couple of weeks that he's gone out there, he has put up better days. And so they're on the road going against the Giants. That's another favorable matchup for him. And like I said, he's put up fantasy points. So when you're looking at him last week, I know it was the Cowboys, but still 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, added a third on the ground. And this is another excellent matchup against the Giants. They've allowed the third most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks all season. Not in the last 5, not in the last 8. It's all season long. They've allowed the third most fantasy points. So he is definitely someone that if you're hurting, more specifically, probably if you had Patrick Mahomes, he is someone this week that you can pick up. And even, they're at home against the Lions week 17. So could be worse if you need him rest of season.
Yeah, he's looked better, obviously, the last couple of weeks. 5 touchdowns over the last 2 games. Favorable matchups against the Commanders and Cowboys, but gets another favorable matchup as they run their NFC East parade for Minnesota right now, 3 weeks in a row. So, yeah, it's a really good matchup. I'm sure a lot of people don't have to go there in Superflex League. You're pretty happy about the way he's played if you've needed him as a second quarterback.
Yeah, and we're not starting Justin Jefferson, right? We can't keep doing this.
Yeah, look, I would say no. I'm sure you probably have him ranked around 30. So, because that's the other factor is just, again, when you look at some of the receivers around him. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay benching him at this point. It's like, how much more do we need to see? It's been,
especially in the favorable matchups. We say, okay, it has to happen this week. Okay, if it didn't happen that week, it has to happen this week. I've got him at 27.
Yeah, I have no problem benching him because it's just like, how much more do we have to wait? Again, you can't tell me about the matchups anymore. It's been 2 weeks in a row he's had good matchups, and there just is no chemistry there. There's no connection. And could he go out there and have a big game? Yeah. But that's the only problem, though. Like, you start to look at where he's ranked, and all those receivers around him also have issues. So if it's coming down to him or another receiver in a similar situation, what you're going to say is, okay, we know how talented Jefferson is. He does have a great matchup. McCarthy's looked better. Okay, fine. But again, it all depends on who you're comparing him to.
Yeah, it's just tough. And I think that, like I said, he's inside the top 30. So you're right. At some point, we talk about this every week. At some point, you have to stop the free fall, right? Because you just look at players around him and you say, okay, I cannot start, this player. I can't start this player ahead of him. Like that DJ Moore, I can't put ahead of him. I can't put
Like
Stephon
Michael
Diggs.
Pittman. Yeah,
Troy
Diggs doesn't even
Franklin,
play any
like
routes.
Michael Pittman, AD Mitchell. I mean, he's near those guys. At
Yeah.
some point, you have to stop the free fall. And so, but he's down there where it's just name now, really, and just a hope that he's able to get you fantasy points if you are starting him. We're going to continue on, though. It's time for that Fantasy Life Water Cooler. All the news and notes, injury reports that you need to know, and taking all of your questions here. Coming up next. It is about that time. Time for the Fantasy Life Water Cooler right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Making sure you're up to date, caught up on all of the news across the NFL, all the injury updates as well, and making sure you're getting those lineups set for Week 16 and getting ready for the championship run. As always, fantasylife.com. That's where you want to go sign up for our newsletter, 100% free. All of our articles over there, 100% free as well. So we've got the utilization report up. We've got Matthew Friedman's updated rankings articles. Same with Ian Hartitz. Everything you need to continue winning is over there. The phone number to call in, we'll open up these phone lines for everyone here, 888-963-2682, or press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. And of course, you can find us over there on X as well, at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis. So send in your questions over there. We're going to try and get to as many as we can in this segment and throughout the remainder of the show. We did have big news here, Adam, just a couple minutes ago, a couple segments ago, so we'll hash it out again here. Dolphins are benching Tua Tagovailoa in favor of Quinn Ewers going into Week 16. That is per Adam Schefter and all those guys. So his first start will come on Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals. At least it's the Bengals, right? We can say that. But you do, I think, have to downgrade this offense slightly. He was the backup, and it was the Week 7 loss to the Browns that we saw him enter that game. But otherwise, he's been the emergency quarterback. Tua Tagovailoa, it's not been great, right? NFL worst 15th interception is what he got on that Monday night game. They lost 28-15 to the Steelers, officially eliminated them from the playoffs as well. So Tua Tagovailoa benched. It'll be interesting in the offseason. I mean, he signed a 4-year, $212 million extension in 2024. That was the year after he led the NFL in passing yards in 2023. So we'll see what happens with him in the offseason. He's guaranteed $54 million in 2026. So we'll see what happens, but he's benched.
Yeah, Ewers, when we made that appearance against Cleveland, it was brief. It was 5 of 8 for 53 yards, but he took 2 sacks and had 2 fumbles. So, yeah, it's definitely a downgrade. Again, the one bright spot is it is the Bengals defense. So really what you're hoping anyway is Achane to get some passes and you want his receiving floor to be high. And if you are using Waddle, you want him, because I would think a lot of people are starting Waddle at this point. He's generally ranked as a wide receiver 2 almost every week. And then, of course, people were hoping to stream Waller in this favorable matchup against the Bengals. But we've already seen the total drop about 2.5 points. The total on the game has dropped 2 points. Bengals were 2.5 point favorites. They are now 4.5. So, yeah, we do have to lower expectations for the Miami offense this week. But it's not like Tua was great either. But, yeah, this is definitely a step down.
Yeah, and anything can happen, but I want to be cautious, Adam, in the semifinals. If you're in there, I don't want. Go with your gut always. And if your gut's telling you if you want to roll with Darren Waller, of course you can do that. But I've always had Colby Parkinson ahead. And maybe that's not going to, work out. But we know the Seahawks against tight ends do give up fantasy points. Their defense otherwise is very sound. And like you said, revenge game for one Colby Parkinson. So like I see a couple questions here asking about tight ends. Like I see one from Bobby saying, would you start Parkinson or Waller this week at tight end? And right now it's Colby Parkinson. I just want to go that direction.
Yeah, I would go Parkinson there as well.
Yeah. So it's again,
Especially if Davante Adams is out, which we all expect, even though there was something from Ian Rappaport this morning saying that Adams could be used in goal line situations.
Don't believe him.
I don't buy it at all. Like, it would be idiotic for the Rams to risk that. Yes, this is a big game, but the bigger plan is winning a championship, and you cannot risk Adams going out there and getting the hamstring further damaged. I mean, you do not mess around with hamstrings. They did last week, and he almost got through the game, but you saw him pull up. That did not look good. So I would actually be surprised if we see Adams the rest of the regular season.
What do you do though if you have him on your roster and they say he's going out there? You're still going to bench him? That's going to be the thing that I
lean yes. And so this is we've talked about this scenario a lot the last few weeks. It was Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mike Evans, and I generally said, hey, if they're active, I'm playing them. This one I don't feel the same about because this just happened on Sunday. We're talking about a Thursday game, a veteran player that's important to your team. So let's see what happens. I mean, he could officially be ruled out today. If they say questionable game time decision, but if they say, yeah, we're only going to use them near the goal line, I don't see how you can play them. What if they don't get near the goal line?
Well, one can only hope as a Seahawks fan that they don't get near the goal line.
Look, so, I mean, it's tough to judge from the last game too much because it was a weird game where the Seahawks had the ball the entire game.
Yeah.
So
and you had the turnovers. You had 4 from Sam.
And that's similar to what happened with Baltimore last week, right? Baltimore got some turnovers and barely had the ball. But the Rams offense was not as prolific as we have seen against that Seahawks defense. It was a lower scoring game. It was 21-19. The Rams only ran 50 plays in that game. So, but we know how good the Seahawks defense is. It is in Seattle. So, I mean, let's wait and see. We'll obviously have confirmation tomorrow, but I do think this, I will say, like if they do say, yeah, he's active and we're going to limit him, I wouldn't feel as good about it as I do in other scenarios.
I hope they make our life really easy. I hope they make our lives really easy tomorrow. And they just say, you know what, Davante Adams is not going out there because then it makes everything more clear. And for Colby Parkinson, you've seen him get the targets recently as well. I mean, as week 12 on, he's gotten 4, 5, 5, 7 targets. And he's given you some touchdowns down that stretch as well. You've got 4 touchdowns since week 12. So you're hoping that that continues against Seattle, who again, susceptible to tight ends. They give up tight end fantasy points. So that's something to look at as well. Tua Tagovailoa again benched, so I don't think a lot of people, unless it was a super flex, were using him. I know Adam's gonna just run to the waiver wire to get Quinn Ewers. I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Not that desperate.
But, well, you're playing Bryce Young.
You just reminded me. Let's see. Sam Darnold throwing an interception this week.
Would you stop? Why do you do this to me?
I'm just saying you wouldn't bet. Okay, so if I said, would you bet Sam Darnold to throw an interception this week or no? Where would you go?
Yes.
Okay. Minus 125 on BetMGM. It's higher on other books, though.
There's no value there.
Minus 147 on DraftKings.
See, there's no value. It's juiced. You're not taking that. You're going to take that? You're going to
minus 125 is not bad.
Can you not?
All right, I'll stop.
Thank you. Can we just believe that Sam Darnold's going to have a great game, right? It's going to be fantastic. Nothing's going to go wrong, and everything's going to be great. Four turnovers too.
So if he goes out there and throws 2 or 3 picks, then you're going to not believe the rest of the year?
I mean, it'll be pretty tough, right? Because that's been the thing is Sam Darnold going to turn back into a pumpkin over the last few weeks of the season. Now, their matchups, I mean, this is the game. This is the game that they have to go after. Then they face the Panthers, then the 49ers. But I mean, that's the hurdle he has to get over because we saw it last year with the Vikings. He slowly started to turn and Listen, slow starts are one part of the issue that's plaguing the Seattle Seahawks right now. Also, just the run game inconsistency doesn't help. It just the one thing that I always go back to is you had some of the worst performances, if not the worst performances, from Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet on Sunday, at least in terms of production. And when the run game's inconsistent, the more is required for Sam Darnold. And I think if they can get that figured out, it's going to be a lot better. But yeah, if he throws 4 turnovers, if he has 4 interceptions again, yeah, it's going to be hard to believe.
Okay. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully they get the W.
I'm going to be stressed. I'm baking a lasagna. That's what I told you. I'm going to make a lasagna tomorrow and not think about it. It's going to be fine.
That helps ease the stress, cooking?
Cooking, yeah. Remember I made the three layered chocolate cake in the Game 7 for the Mariners. I thought that was going to help. Didn't. But at least I had cake.
Yeah, so no chocolate this time. Got to find something different. So
yeah,
lasagna. Let's see if that works.
Hearty lasagna that I can eat for the rest of the week. What can the Rams do? So if the Rams do win that game, is that so? I know the Seahawks can clinch a berth with a win or a tie. Anyway, we'll talk about this one tomorrow. Let's keep going. I'm just gonna get all focused on the Seahawks here. The other injury news that I wanted to get to is that the Bears did list Luther Burden Odunze as out of practice. That was yesterday's. So we just need to pay attention to today's. But that would be big if Luther Burden was not good to go. Odunze were on the side that we're probably not going to see him. And then the other one I definitely wanted to hit here was Ricky Pearsall's knee and ankle injuries. I didn't get to this yesterday, but Shanahan did say, quote, there is a concern about those injuries, which is kind of a little bit of a turn, but he was speaking on Tuesday. So it's kind of one that we just have to watch with Ricky Pearsall this week as well.
He's not going to play, I'm afraid.
No.
And
Right.
I have him in a couple leagues, and, I didn't play him until this week. I felt good about the matchup against Tennessee and was pretty happy with the performance, even though he got
you fantasy points.
Yeah, well, he got hurt. He injured his ankle on the first catch of the game. I was like, great. And then he came back. I'm like, all right, cool. And then he got hurt on his last catch, this time the knee. So it's unfortunate. It's been a string of bad luck for Pearsall in his first 2 years in the league, because we have seen glimpses where he performs very well. I mean, he got off to a really good start this year. The first 3 weeks of the season, 2 100-yard games. And again, came back. It wasn't good the first couple of weeks, but had the matchup this week, produced, and now probably looking at an absence again. So that is really good, though, for Juwan Jennings and George Kittle. Yeah. Jennings is a guy that I don't think people talk about enough, but he is going to have a strong finish to the fantasy season. And he's been pretty good, at least in the touchdown department the last few games. He's got 4 touchdowns in the last 3, and he's got 6 in the last 6 games. So he is producing not a lot of elite yards, but he's finding a way to get into the end zone. And you take Pearsall away, that gives him some more opportunities.
Yeah, I agree 100% with Juwan Jennings. Like you said, someone that's not talked about probably enough, but with Ricky Pearsall, and again, this is the Monday night game, so be careful if you do have Ricky Pearsall. I don't think people are necessarily relying on him too much, but 49ers going up against the Indianapolis Colts, and so when I look at Juwan Jennings, it's been pretty solid, right? Since he returned to full practice, that was back in week 8. Because remember, we were dealing early in the season with him and his injuries, but he has a 23% target share, 34% air yard share, 46% end zone target share. So when you look at the Colts, they don't have Sauce Gardner. He's been out the past 2 games, and you're probably not going to see him. Javarius Ward is on IR, I believe. So you've got a lot of things going right for this team. And I think even if we go in guillotine leagues, I don't know if people need to go that far, but you could look to start Juwan Jennings there too. But yeah, not good for Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, I think it depends in a guillotine league. Like, again, teams are stacked at this point. So
yeah, that's true.
I think it would depend on who you have. But yeah, he's in a pretty good spot right now where you're ranking him in wide receiver 2 territory.
Yep. Oh, and Chris Rodriguez was a full practice yesterday. So that's a big one. If you were looking to pick up, or you have, one Bill, Ja'Cory Groski-Merritt, you do have to downgrade him if we do see Chris Rodriguez back. So just be cautious on that one. Let's get to some questions here. I see a couple on X that I want to get to, as well as some phone calls. So let's start out on the phone lines here. Let's go out to Max in California. Max, what do you got for us?
Hey, good morning, guys. So I have Stafford, and Burrow, can decide to have Puka as my receiver. And I have Juwan Johnson, who's been my tight end, but picked up Waller off waivers, which now, with the news, I'm not sure which way to go. Need some help.
All right. So the first one's Stafford or Burrow. I've got Burrow ranked higher against Miami. I hope that Adam, we don't see 5 fantasy points, but I've got him as QB 7. And that's even being a little bit cautious. I've got Matthew Stafford at 10, so a little bit closer. But him going up against that Seahawks defense, I don't necessarily love for streaming purposes.
Sounds like you're a homer.
I'm a little bit biased, though. What, would you switch him? You would flip him?
No, I could see starting Burrow. I think people are just hesitant because of what they saw last week.
Which is
but
understandable.
Yeah, and it just divisional game. Some weird things happen, but I could see going back to Burrow here. Stafford. Again, the first matchup didn't have a lot of yards, 2 passing touchdowns. This is a tough defense. It's a short week going on the road. So, yeah, and especially if Davante Adams is out too, that hurts. So I could see definitely going Burrow over Stafford. I do think it's close, and Stafford's a tough guy to bench just because we've seen what he can do on a weekly basis. But Burrow still has the potential to put up big numbers if his heart's into it.
If he's feeling happy and ready to play. Waller Juwan Johnson was the other one here. If you asked us like an hour ago, it would be a no-brainer. Are you still going Waller even with the quarterback change?
Yeah, I think I still have to go with him because, like, what is the ceiling for Juwan Johnson? It's not high. Like,
I don't know. They're playing the Jets.
Yeah, but
I mean, Tyler Shuck hasn't been awful. It's not been pretty. I'll say that. You don't want to watch these games. But he's gotten pretty good since week 10? 23 receptions, 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 28 targets.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't scored the last 4 games. He's been 4 for 30, 4 for 38, 5 for 39. So you really need a touchdown from him to come through. And it is a good matchup against the Jets, but I'm going to stick with Waller there.
I think, could Valenzuela be out in this game? I can't.
Yeah,
believe
he's banged up too. Yeah.
With the shoulder. So that might make me put him up in the rankings a little bit more. But yeah, Waller is probably a better upside too with Waller going up against the Bengals. Let's go out to Bill in Chicago. Bill, what do you got for us?
Hey guys, best show on the channel. You guys have this like rom-com chemistry that's just super enjoyable. So love the show.
Thank you.
2 questions, 2 start-sit questions. Brissett in Mayfield is my first question.
Oh, come on. Really?
You put both of them out
Leave
there?
him alone.
Yeah,
Leave him alone.
Brissett.
What's your second question, though? Let him finish, Adam. Come on.
Sorry, you gave us a compliment. I shouldn't have been so brash, but sorry. We got to get to the point where Jacoby Brissett's locked in.
Don't apologize, Bill. What do you got?
All right, I'm with you. I've sat him for the last 4 weeks, but you're right. Anyhow, two of the next 3 wide receivers: Jefferson, Devonta Smith, or Rashee Rice.
Smith and Rice. We were just talking about Jefferson, that how it's tough to play him at this point. Now, I'm pretty sure Kendall has both those receivers ranked above Jefferson, right?
I do.
Yeah.
It's not particularly close.
Look, the Kansas City offense clearly is going to be downgraded without Patrick Mahomes. He was struggling behind this offensive line, but Minshew is a veteran quarterback that's probably going to get the ball out of his hands quick to Rice, and that's what we like about Rice, the volume, and it is Tennessee. Yes, we are going to question what is the motivation of this Kansas City team. They are not used to being in this position, but they're still professional athletes. A lot of guys want to finish the season strong. Maybe not Travis Kelce, who has a wedding to think about.
Stop it.
What?
Don't. He's going to finish strong. He's going to be fine.
Okay.
He had a quote saying they're not giving up.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay. What is he going to say? We're giving up? You believe him? Come on.
I do. You know me.
But yeah, Rice, I'm going to play. And I know Smith, it can be up and down with Philadelphia's offense, but a good matchup for him. It's just, again, with Jefferson, like, how many more times do we have to tell ourselves this is a really good matchup? He's going to come through. We've been saying that the last 2 weeks, and we've gotten 4 catches for 33 yards. Now, I'm sure one of these weeks he's going to go off when he's on everyone's benches, but
it'll be week 17 for sure.
You think so?
Because
Against
then
Detroit
we'll be kicking ourselves. Yeah, that's.
But yeah, you would play Smith and Rice there, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think, I always have to check myself a little bit because I sometimes, we're in the business of overreacting, right, to news and everything, and we try to look at all the different expectations and different outcomes that could happen. Gardner Minshew, we've seen before. It's not it now. Will I say it's not great? Absolutely. But he last started it was the Raiders last season. So he made 9 starts. It was 200 yards per game, 9 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Not pretty. The ADOT though, and I will shout out, it was the Athletic that put this out, but his ADOT was sitting at 6.2. Average depth of target 6.2. Was only higher than Tua Tagovailoa. But I think that could keep the two guys that are most important to us, Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce, involved, because Rashee Rice, his ADOT right now is 4.9. We forget that he is not, there's the downfield threats with Patrick Mahomes this year, the explosiveness, it was not coming true. So he has an ADOT of 4.9. That's the 4th lowest for a wide receiver this season. Travis Kelce's sitting at 7. So, and we know sometimes with these tight ends that it's the checkdowns. Like, they become a security blanket to new quarterbacks coming in. That's why you're still feeling a little bit better about Waller. But I just think these two can still be involved enough where I'm trying not to overreact too much and bump them down the rankings where you put them in a position where you're not starting them. I think they still have viability, even though it isn't Patrick Mahomes, even though it is just Gardner Minshew. I'll just say that.
I think so as well. The biggest concern is the offensive line because it has been banged up. It has been bad. But Rice and Kelce are the two guys that I would start in Kansas City's offense. I would not go anywhere else, even though I might have to start Isaiah Pacheco. But that's a different scenario where I have no running backs and waiver wires closed.
Don't follow Adam Ronis down that path of Isaiah Pacheco. And listen, we're going to say that, and he's going to go off. Let me do rapid fire here on X. I see one from Wayne, Stafford or Baker Mayfield.
Stafford.
Yeah,
I can't play Baker Mayfield.
No, this is one where I have Stafford ahead. Again, I said I've got to make QB9 this week, so that's where he's going to be at. Got one from Cubs fan. Shout out to the Cubs. Hoping you can help me out here. Jackson Dart or CJ Stroud. I do have them closer, but I think I would go. I would go Stroud still in this matchup against Vegas. I know you've said you're worried about them getting up to a big lead, pulling their starters, everything like that, but I hope getting up to that big lead is 2 or 3 touchdowns from him.
Dart's been good, but this Minnesota defense, man, with all their blitzing, I mean, you saw, we've seen it numerous times. I mean, Dak put up yardage, but didn't get a touchdown. So I am worried about this matchup. A young quarterback against that Flores defense could cause some problems.
I see another one here, Ferguson or Oronde Gadsden. Oronde Gadsden does get Dallas this week, but I'm going, they're actually back-to-back, 15 and 16 for me. I've got Ferguson 1 spot ahead.
I could see maybe if Quentin Johnston is still out, I could see going Gadsden. I think it's closer this week. I might lean Gadsden here.
Okay. But very close. Coin flip on that.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
There. We'll go with your gut conversation there. All right, we're going to continue. If you're on the phone lines on hold, we appreciate you hanging out. We're going to try and get to you coming up in this next segment. Keep sending us questions, though, over on X, at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there. We're hitting Stock Watch. We're going to see players that are trending up, trending down, or maybe just staying neutral, going through Brian Thomas Jr. Let's talk through Omari and Hampton, Quinshon Judkins, and more here. Coming up next. Gosh, I love that song. Kendall Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you here on this Wednesday. Wednesday all day, in case people wanted to know, because I thought it was Monday a couple hours ago.
How do you confuse a Monday with Wednesday? There's a way different feel.
Well, yeah.
Especially on this show.
A way different day. I know. I don't know. It was early. The coffee wasn't, the Folgers wasn't hitting yet, of course.
Does it ever hit?
Hey. I'm going to send you some and it will change your life.
Okay,
but only if you have the fanny pack. Remember, that was the thing.
Oh, I had some new coffee recently, and it's very good. Called Pete's Coffee.
Yes, Pete's is big over here.
Is it?
Yeah, huge. Yeah, they've got.
It was very good.
Yeah, they the Pete's over here is really good. Ooh, maybe I'll go get that after the show. That sounds delicious.
See now, you wonder why it doesn't work on me, but you always wonder why advertisers pay so much money, and you've seen it this week. You mentioned the McDonald's breakfast sandwich, and someone went out and got it. I mentioned Pete's Coffee, and now you want to go get it. So advertising does work. You'll wonder why they spend millions of dollars.
It's true. Look at us.
I guess it works.
Look at us. Hashtag not an ad.
Hashtag go to fantasylife.com and become a subscriber.
Hashtag do that. That's what we're going to push here. Producer Brendan asked, is Adam going to try this new place called Starbucks next? That's the first time you've had Pete's? Yeah, that's
I've never had it.
Popular. Really?
Is it? I didn't know. I was at someone's house.
Popular.
I was at someone's house for Thanksgiving.
Really
they gave me the coffee. I'm like, oh, what kind is this? Yeah.
Pizza's good. Same with Blue Bottle. Have you done Blue Bottle yet?
No, you've mentioned that, right? And you said there's some in New York City?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. But yeah, pizza is kind
of. And Brendan, I don't like Starbucks, by the way.
Oh, jeez.
I like their iced coffee. I really don't like the hot coffee.
So then you like their coffee then?
No, just the iced coffee.
Coffee is coffee.
And now Blue Bottle is a lot of money?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not cheap.
Oh well, you have a big salary, so you can.
What are we talking about? I get a tall iced coffee. I go one. It was one time. I've been there since what? It was 2 years ago.
You're more iced coffee than hot?
No, I'm usually a hot coffee drinker. But when I go to Blue Bottle, I do like their iced coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Starbucks. I don't really like their hot coffee. I like their iced coffee.
I feel it. Yeah, but you have to go get the pumpkin spice latte.
It's still. Do they have that?
Still around, I think.
Yeah, probably another few weeks, right?
Yeah,
Then they'll get rid of it.
Go and get that. What are we doing?
I don't know. I'm following your lead.
People are like, hello, we've got 2 weeks to go for the championship. Okay, we're locked in. Stock watch, Adam. Players on the rise, players maybe falling down the ranks a little bit, and your expectations for them are expectations for them going into the weekend. Let's start with Amari and Hampton, because I did want to break down some of these backfields right now. The one thing I will say, he has not returned to the same role that we loved before the injury. Is there a chance that still happens? Absolutely, but when you look over the last 2 games, utilization score has gone down. Workload did improve in week 15, which again, we can see the trend continue, but Kamani Vidal really was if we're doing a 1A, 1B situation, he was the 1A. So what's your expectation? Stock going up or down?
Well, I can't say up for Hampton, but I will say this. Even though the snaps have been limited, he's played 31 and 36% of the snaps in his first 2 games back. And most times you say, well, that's not enough. When he's on the field, he's getting the ball. He has 15 touches in the first game back against Philly, and he had 16 last week. So any running back that is getting that amount of work, it's tough to complain about the snap percentage. The problem is the lack of usage in the passing game, because it feels like they trust Vidal more in pass protection. Hampton, was it the Philly game? There was a play that he got Herbert blown up. So
yeah.
I think, and obviously they have to be really careful protecting Herbert with the left hand, the offensive line injuries. So Hampton looks better. Like, he has more burst than Vidal, but they trust Vidal more in pass protection now. And they're running the ball a lot too. So there's room for both of them. So I'm still playing Hampton. The expectations are lowered because I think we all felt once Hampton came back, we were going to have a difference maker. We were excited. We saw right before he got hurt, he had 6'5" and 6 receptions. So we were penciling that in to the projection, and that is not there. So he is kind of dependent on scoring a touchdown, but I'm still playing him. He's had 2 tough matchups too, Philly and Kansas City. Again, Dallas.
Great matchup this week.
Yeah, Dallas is more susceptible against the pass, but it's not like they're locked down against the run either. And that's another team, too, where they are likely going to be eliminated on Saturday. If Philadelphia wins Saturday, they clinch the division. Dallas is eliminated. I feel like Dallas is a team that won't quit, that they'll play it out. They want to finish strong. But again, we're guessing on this stuff. Like, everyone's assuming, Kansas City's not going to show up. We don't know. Like, it's easy to say that, but we have no idea. So with Hampton, though, I'm playing him. He's more an RB2 at this point, and it's a little disappointing, right? We were hoping for something a little bit better, but they still have a lot to play for, and you just got to hope that early in the game he breaks off a couple of big runs, and they go, all right, you know what? We can stick with him now, or hope that he doesn't get blown up in pass protection. But he's in an RB2 range for me. But yeah, it is disappointing. We were hoping. Yeah. I think we all, with Hampton, and I have him in a couple leagues, we were expecting much more production from him. It's only been 2 games, but we can see that it's probably not going to be the RB1 territory we had hoped for.
Yeah, only 2 games, but we only have 3 left in the whole
Yeah.
season, 2 to get us through the playoffs. So you have to downgrade, unfortunately. I have him as a borderline RB2, but the utilization score, I mean, he's in the same area as Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet with the utilization score. So not something you love to see, but maybe he can reclaim a bigger role. But like we said, you're kind of running out of time at this
The
point,
thing
so
is,
you have to downgrade.
the thing is, Vidal's doing nothing on the ground,
No,
right?
I
Like
know, I
these,
know.
he has 26 carries for 77 yards the last 2 games, and he had that 160-yard catch against Philly. I think it was the first play from scrimmage. Did nothing the rest of the game in a pass game, and even last week, 1 for 15. So it's not like he's done much, but they, again, in pass protection scenarios, passing situations, he's going to be out on the field more. So you're going to need Hampton to score a touchdown.
Yeah. And I think that, well, I don't want to say they're saving stuff for the playoffs, but
No, they can't.
they can get a ticket to the playoffs if they beat the Cowboys and either the Colts or the Texans lose or tie. So there are situations this week where they can, clinch their ticket to the playoff, like I
And
said.
they still can win the division. I mean, if Denver
Yeah, it's still
loses
up
to
in the air.
Jacksonville this week and they win, they're a game out.
They need the Broncos to lose one of their next 2 games. That's against the Jaguars in Kansas City. And then
They play week 18.
yeah, week 18 win over the Broncos. The Chargers did beat the Broncos earlier this season too. So they would have the tiebreaker with another win over them. So that's something to look at too. That's why I didn't want to say that they're really not looking that far down, because they probably are. Let me do another one here. The Green Bay Packers receivers as a whole. When we look at them, we can go player by player. Christian Watson, of course, was injured his shoulder. It was early, sixth drive of the game or something like that. I know that they've said the injury is not expected to keep him out long term. Let's play this game though with the expectation that maybe he's out this week. Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, I'll throw Dontavian Wicks in there. Is there anyone that you are upgrading if Christian Watson is unable to go this week?
Just Jaden Reed. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Romeo Doubs they both had 13% of the targets. Matthew Golden had 20% target share.
Yeah, but are you really gonna trust them in a semifinals week? Again, they still are a team that spreads the ball around a lot. And the one guy that I actually did feel good about was Christian Watson. And even then, with Jaden Reed back and Golden back, you're like, okay, I gotta see it first. I think Watson was just becoming that guy making plays, though, big plays down the field. He's also another receiver that only, if he gets 5-6 targets, he could still give you a productive fantasy day. But now with this chest injury, I mean, I'm guessing he doesn't play. We should probably know by tomorrow, I would think.
Yeah,
with
I would
Watson.
be surprised if he
I'm
goes.
guessing he's out. So if I had to go somewhere, it would be Jaden Reed. But we know that this is not a situation that you can start a lot of these guys in. No bye weeks. It's the semifinals. Hopefully you don't need to go there. But, you could have had, I guess you could have had Rome Odunze and Watson and maybe someone else. So maybe you're desperate. So
E. Higgins, Drake London.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Yeah.
you've already been filling in for Drake London. And again, there's a potential return this week, I'm hoping. Look, Dobbs always plays the most snaps, but doesn't always translate into fantasy success. And we know Jaden Reed sometimes not out there in 2 wide sets, but he's the one I would feel most confident about if Watson's out.
Wouldn't it be sick if it was Matthew Golden? Just sick to your stomach. You're like, really? The last 2 weeks we're going to do this? Matthew Golden can
at
finally
least
show up?
best ball shares will pay off
Great.
finally.
Some of my best ball teams are absolutely dead because I didn't draft Kyle Pitts. That's why. Look at
Yeah,
that.
no, best ball is that happens. Sometimes you look back at your teams and you're like, oh my goodness, either
Especially
guys get
those
hurt
early
or
ones. Ugh,
yeah.
yuck. So gross. All right. We're going to continue on. More early week 16 rankings that I want to go through and the matchups. Some good matchups that I want to highlight here. Some matchups that you might just want to downgrade your expectations. And I see a ton of questions coming in, Adam. So I think we're going to end up doing, I want to do some rapid fire, just answers to these questions over there on X at KValenzuela17, at Adam Ronis. Ronis is where you can find us. Send in those questions, and we're going to get to them here. We're going to do all of that coming up next. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to have Xfinity. All the games all in one place, and here is what you get when you watch sports with Xfinity. You get that sports zone. That means every pro football game and over 1,000 college games, all the highlights, all the alerts, all in one place. You also get that multi-view, so that means you can be in up to 4 stadiums at once. The Xfinity Fan View gives you the live scores, odds, and stats personalized to you and the teams you love and care about. You can also get the enhanced 4K and that voice remote where you can just say football. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Oh, yeah. You're here with us right now. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, where you get mostly coffee talk and McDonald's breakfast sandwich talk with a side of fantasy football information. It's just what the people ordered, Adam. That's it.
Yeah.
You're not telling me you didn't want to go get a breakfast sandwich after that conversation?
I did not. There were others that did, apparently. I was sent photos of, hey, you guys got me. So
hashtag not an ad. That's what we're saying here. Let's go out. Like I said, we've got a ton of questions, so I want to make sure we get through as many as we can here. Let's go back out to the phone lines. I see Josh still on the line here. Josh, appreciate you hanging out with us. What do you got for us?
Hey, how you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
So my question is, I have good. I have Purdy and Baker Mayfield, and I can pick up Stroud if I wanted to. And I have Christian McCaffrey and Juwan Jennings.
Wow.
I also have Nico Collins and who's the other guy? Yeah, that's about it.
Jaden Higgins, maybe.
Yeah, I'm starting Brock Purdy.
Yeah, same. He's got a great matchup this week against Indianapolis.
Yeah, and look,
him as QB 8.
I know it's difficult to be all in on one team, because in case that team doesn't produce, but you said McCaffrey, and we know he's got a high floor every single week. We talked about Jennings and how he's been getting the targets in the end zone, and it looks like Ricky Pearsall could be out, and 49ers still have a lot to play for. So, Purdy's he's had a couple of bad games recently, but one was in Cleveland on the road, bad weather. He tends to struggle in those situations, but we don't have to worry about that this week.
No, you do not. Appreciate you calling in, though, Josh. Yeah, definitely Purdy. And then in my rankings, I've got it Purdy, Stroud, then Mayfield, if you're looking that way, too. I've seen a ton of questions, too, Adam, on Ashton Genty. I think one just said, do I have to keep playing Ashton Genty?
No, you don't.
I understand the question because, the offensive line is awful. Ashton Genty, he's ranked inside the top 18 most weeks. But when we're talking about optimism, it just isn't there. And it's really unfortunate because we can talk about the talent all day and how, he's supposed to be, and he probably will be in his career, this phenomenal player. But when you're playing around such a horrible offensive line, the last 2 weeks, 5.8, 8.2 fantasy points, and really, it just hasn't been a good season for him. It's been disappointing. Now you're going up against Houston. Yikes.
Yeah, look, the only hope with Genty is, okay, can he catch 4, 5, 6 passes? And he was doing that many weeks, but last week was a brutal matchup where they couldn't do anything offensively, and I don't see it any different this week at Houston. It's going to be ugly. So, yeah, Genty is now in that, Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard range. He's not a must-start because, again, it's not his fault. A lot of people are going to trash him. If you've watched him play, you could see it's not him. He's got no room to run at all. It's an abysmal offensive line. It's also hurt Brock Bowers. Bowers still has put up decent numbers, but we're not getting the ceiling from Bowers because of this offense. So, yeah, Genty has been really hurt by this offense, and I don't think anyone envisioned the offensive line being this bad because people were like, well, why was Genty taken so early in drafts? They invested a lot of draft capital in him, and I don't think anyone saw the offensive line being this abysmal.
Yeah, I see a question here where maybe this is the time where we say, yeah, you have to play Genty. From Jake, what do I do with Genty in my flex? It's either him, Quentin Johnston, who might not play, Isaiah Pacheco, or Jawar Jordan. And now Jawar Jordan would be interesting, but we have to wait for Woody Marks. And I'm leaning on the side that it looks like Woody Marks might start. If not, then I understand maybe wanting to go that direction, but Pacheco, I don't think you're starting Pacheco over Genty this week.
Cannot do that.
I think you have to do Genty there.
Pacheco's been brutal with Patrick Mahomes, and isn't this the time the Chiefs should start looking at Brashard Smith? Why haven't they used him? What's the point of Kareem Hunt at this? You're eliminated.
I know.
Pacheco is a free agent after this year, right? I think so. I think his contract's up.
I have to look. I don't know.
So
This is the time where we start to say that about a lot of teams, though. Why not look at X, Y, Z player? These young players. So we probably start seeing that next week or this week even.
I mean, look, I hope they give Pacheco a big workload for the next 2 weeks for selfish reasons, but I don't feel good about it at all.
Another question here from Brandon. Carter or Judkins? Judkins has let me down bad recently. Oh man, has he ever? That one's been disappointing. And Quinshon Judkins was one where if you picked him up at the beginning of the season, or I should say, if you were drafting him beginning of the season, a little bit of a question mark, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, Quinshon Judkins, here he comes. But he bombed at 4.7 fantasy points last week. He had the season high route participation rate. I know people don't want to hear that, but 55%, it was the season high in routes and tied the season high in targets at 13%. But if you're asking between Quinshon Judkins, Michael Carter might have more upside.
Could be. I mean, I would want to wait a couple more days before deciding that. Dylan Sampson was out. That probably had a influence on the route participation there. So let's see what his status is. Yeah, I mean, again, with Judkins, we're saying, well, the volume's there every week. That's cool, but if you're going to average 1.8, 1.9 yards per carry like he has the last couple of weeks, it's not going to do much. They're going against Buffalo, who has been more susceptible against the run lately.
Yeah.
Picked it up a little bit, but I guess the game script is a problem too. I mean, Buffalo could blow them out.
Yeah, I see that they've actually. So Buffalo's defense has allowed 18.3 fantasy points per game on planned rushes since week 12. So that obviously puts him still in the flex category. But yeah, it's a tough one between him and Michael Carter there. We've got a ton of questions. I want to keep going through them, Adam, and talking through some of the matchups, some of the rankings that we have these guys at as well. Keep sending in your questions at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis. We're going to go through them here coming up right after this. Hopefully everyone's having a great start to their Wednesday, getting you guys ready for all things week 16 across the NFL. Drake London was practicing today?
Look, does Raheem Morris know what the term day-to-day means? Because hasn't he been day-to-day for 4 weeks?
4 weeks, Adam. He said he's been day-to-day.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
Drake London is day-to-day. He'll be at practice. And Raheem Morris said, looking forward to seeing how much he'll be able to give us this week.
Okay.
Please play Drake London. I really need him in my home league. I'm in the semifinals. I've gotten here without him, but getting him back would just be a massive addition. Look, if you don't have Drake London, I don't think you realize how great he was before he got injured. He was putting up insane numbers. He had 5 games of at least 104 yards out of 6. He had 6 touchdowns in 6 games. Like, he was going off.
Yep.
Every
it would
week.
Be so great to have him back.
I mean, look at this stretch. 8 for 110 and a touchdown. 10 for 158 and a touchdown. 4 for 42. 9 for 118 and 3 touchdowns. 6 for 104 and a touchdown. 7 for 119. Like, he was going to be a massive difference maker. And again, hasn't played since November 16th. So it's been a month now. And I don't remember, did Morris say day-to-day that first week? But it feels like he's saying day-to-day for at least 2 to 3 weeks.
At least 2 weeks. I know he said day-to-day, which is so annoying because that's not day-to-day. That's just week to week.
All we ask for is accurate information with injuries.
Yeah, we're not going to get that. Are you kidding?
I mean, Trey Benson, look at him. I know he had the setback, but still, it's just...
Yeah, I know.
Like I said, never trust these coaches or teams. All they do is lie.
Yeah, well,
Brandon Ayuk, anywhere from week 5 to week 10.
Brandon Ayuk has just that whole thing. We have to talk about that. A deep dive this offseason on what the heck transpired there. But yeah, so Drake London's day to day. It looks like maybe he's going to practice today. We'll find out in probably in a few minutes here. But more questions that I see coming in on X at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there. Another quarterback one. Sorry. Dak Prescott or Jordan Love, or ride the hot hand of JJ McCarthy. Do not ride the hot hand of JJ McCarthy. Please just don't. I understand it, but please just don't do it. I would still go Dak in this situation here over Jordan Love.
Me too. And look, is it possible McCarthy outscores both of them? Yes, but we're playing probabilities here, and look, there are certain decisions that you regret and others you live with. Like, if I had that situation, I start Dak and he gets outscored by the other two, I can live with it and be fine if it doesn't work out.
Lamar Jackson or Sam Darnold? I will say, as a Seahawks fan, I know this is directed at me. I draw the line somewhere, and it's this question. It's Lamar Jackson, no question. I know Lamar's been disappointing, but you cannot put Sam Darnold out there this week.
Disclaimer, if you get positive points for interceptions, Sam Darnold is the play there.
Stop it. He's not going to have any.
So bet no interceptions for Sam Darnold. It's plus money.
I can't. I'm in California. You can do it for me, though.
All right. So send me the money. I'll put the bet in for you.
Okay, that's
What are you going to send, 5,000?
5,000? How about, I was thinking $5 where like Amanda does, maybe a penny.
Well, she does like, what, 10 cents
10
for like
cents.
a 10-leg parlay to
She's
win?
hit some of those this year, too. That's the funny part.
Well, good. Next time we see her, lunch is on her.
Let's see it. All right. I see another one here from Troy. He says, PPR flex, need only one. Emeka Egbuka, George Pickens, Rico Dowdle, Jalen Coker, Michael Carter. I know that was a lot. Egbuka, Pickens, Rico, Jalen Coker is out. Michael Carter. So it's really 4.
Probably Pickens. I know the last 2 games have not been good. But
can't get worse, right?
I can.
Yeah, I can.
He could go 3 for 30 again. But the problem is Egbuka takes a little bit of a hit with Evans back. Evans clearly the one there. And then, Dowdle, I guess, would be the other one to consider. I think it's between Pickens and Dowdle, but I lean Pickens.
One more here, and then we'll keep going on. We'll try and keep replying to these as well. This is probably where we draw the line. I saw a question here asking about Justin Jefferson or Luther Burden if he plays full point PPR. That's probably where the line is drawn, huh? It's pretty close.
I think I would go Burden if he plays.
We should know that sooner rather than later. Again, that's a Saturday.
Saturday,
game.
Yeah.
So we should probably at latest by tomorrow if he's going to be good to go. You shouldn't count on Rome Odunze, though. That's one that is probably leaning in the wrong direction there. We've got great games this week, too. A lot on the line starting with the games tomorrow. But, yeah, there are some good matchups that we can utilize here, and there are some that you might just want to lower a few expectations. I think Justin Herbert, though, has a chance going up against Dallas. That's a really nice matchup there. Michael Wilson against the Falcons. That's a really good one. You've got, Harold Bannon, I wish I could say better.
I think the best game is tomorrow night. 2-11 and 3 teams, first place, number 1 seed. There's a lot on the line there. And then Packers Bears on Saturday night is a good one too.
Last week was phenomenal, and I hope this week lives up to the same, because we had good fantasy outings. That was the difference.
And don't forget,
did we have good games.
Don't forget Jets Saints.
Oh, I've got it circled. I've actually cleared my calendar for Jets Saints. I've been ready for it all year. So excited. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us. What a great show. We're going to be back same time tomorrow, breaking down everything for Thursday Night Football. See you then.